Queen takes drastic measures amid coronavirus pandemic as no chances can be taken. Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip are self-isolating with just a few trusted members of their staff, as Windsor Castle is stripped of its royal pomp for their safety amid the coronavirus pandemic. The Queen and Prince Philip, aged respectively 93 and 98, are considered particularly vulnerable to the threats from coronavirus. To make sure the monarch and the Duke of Edinburgh are protected from the pandemic, the royal household has been stripped bare of almost its entire staff. Out of the 100 people usually working for the monarch at Windsor Castle, there are just 8 members of the staff left to take care of the Queen and Philip. A source said, "Obviously, the fewer people are in contact with each other, the better. No chances can be taken with the Queen's safety in view of her and the Duke's ages. The decision to tell people who work at the castle in Berkshire to remain at home is in line with the government's advice," the source continued. They added, "But it's also for the benefit of everyone who works at the castle. Every firm has been told to send as many of their staff home as possible, and the royal family is no different. The Queen is being looked after by her closest servants, while a couple of grooms and stable lads are looking after the horses. Like everywhere else, normal life is being put on hold." Among the 8 people isolating with the Queen and Prince Philip, there are 2 of the monarch's favorite aides, her dressmaker and advisor Angela Kelly and page of the Black Stairs Paul Wybrew. One source told the Daily Mail, "The Queen couldn't do without Paul and Angela, and they are with her all the time." Among the 8 people isolating with the Queen and Prince Philip, there are 2 of the monarch's favorite aides, her dressmaker and advisor Angela Kelly and page of the Black Stairs Paul Wybrew. One source told the Daily Mail, "The Queen couldn't do without Paul and Angela, and they are with her all the time." Mr. Wybrew received the nickname Tall Paul years ago because, thanks to his height, he was towering over his former colleague and butler, Little Paul Burrell. Tall Paul is said to be so close to the Queen he sometimes is invited to sit down and watch TV with her. Mr. Wybrew gained the trust of the monarch and other royals after he faced Michael Fagan, who famously sneaked into Buckingham Palace and sat on the Queen's bed in 1982. A former royal employee said, "The Queen adores Paul. He is the perfect calming presence to have around in such circumstances." The Queen moved to Windsor Castle last week, opening the Easter Court earlier than expected as London became the city worst hit by coronavirus in the UK. The monarch will not be able to see members of her family, who are also self-isolating, and will need to cope with just a few members of the staff and a much more isolated life than the one she is used to for a few weeks, as the number of people tested positive for coronavirus in the UK continue to grow. Yesterday Prime Minister Boris Johnson issued new dramatic restrictions to ease the pressure on the NHS. Speaking directly to Britons from Downing Street, Mr. Johnson said that, for at least the next 3 weeks, people must stay at home, work remotely when they can and leave their homes for very limited purposes, such as grocery, physical activity and medical need.